the moon. Screw candy cause we're holding on for dear life, getting them teddy so soon. Don't be mistaken, the apes won't be shaking or breaking because we're going to the moon. Today's expectation, probably more manipulation. FUD, your creation of a crooked operation. Bought more while it was low, got more dips than Trader Joe's. Oh, you thought that we'd let go? What the hell you take us for? Holla if you spend your last dollar on bananas while living in squalor. We don't claim to be scholars, we the smooth brain dummies, and we never stood taller. Yeah, we do this for love and we do this for honor. A follower 11 ain't got nothing on us. We the planet of the apes and in MOS we trust. MOASS, oh hell yes. Gonna send it into space, go fire up the jets. Done my DD, call me Elton John, Rocket Man. This is the way, gonna be gorillionaires. Ground control the matrix on, we about to have liftoff. Call us Neil Armstrong, gonna keep holding on. Screw candy cause we're holding on for dear life, getting them teddy so soon. Don't be mistaken, the apes won't be shaking or breaking because we're going to the moon. Screw candy cause we're holding on for dear life, getting them teddy so soon. Don't be mistaken, the apes won't be shaking or breaking because we're going to the moon. We're going to the moon. We're going to the moon. We're going to the moon.
Let's fucking go.
What's going on, Moon Gang? Moon Gang. Welcome to kind of the we're wrapping up the week. It is Power Hour of Friday, October 22nd. We're here to close it out. We have about 59 minutes of fun in the sun to see what's going on. And let's dive into a few things. And I do kind of like with Friday, things are always a little bit, I don't know, lower volume, lower volatility into the Friday close. So I think with that opportunity, unless of course something gets going absolutely crazy, I was thinking maybe we could do some sort of like AMA or something. We could do like a rapid fire of like questions. Could be something fun to try out. But before we get into all of that, and while things are still really not moving right now, we saw a lot of volatility at open. Mainly things went red. I mean, look at SPY, Qs, IWM, AMC, Gme, red. We have this whole DWAC thing that's going like absolutely crazy. Obviously, that's still up quite a bit, but a lot of things still in the red. A little bit of a mixed bag, but still definitely obviously red. That's kind of your just quick check on everything. A little couple pieces of news I want to go over. So right here is an important one. So this does relate to all the people who are excited about DWAC. 2 hedge funds sell stakes in Trump's SPAC firm DWAC after merger news, big stock price rise. At least 2 hedge funds sold their stakes in DWAC after the SPAC confirmed announcement plans to merge with TMTG is what it's going to end up turning into. The sell-off by Lighthouse Investment Partners and Saba Capital Management came as DWAC. So earlier today, so if you're looking for an explanation of kind of this crazy drop from 175 down to 70, could be because over 15% was actually sold by these funds who had a long position in it. I knew that Saba, the right thing to do was sell our entire stake of unrestricted shares, which we have done now, and that's coming from the founder. And then also Lighthouse Investment. We actually saw that this was reported very early this morning. I first read it from Unusual Whales. The sell-offs reflected the risk of being associated with Trump, who was impeached after being accused of inciting the January 6th Capitol riot. So with this, I think this is CNBC taking their, I guess, journalistic liberties of obviously they are anti-Trump, reflect the risk. I just find that interesting. I view it more as they have a fiduciary responsibility by the fact if they gained 1,000% in 2 days, well, you have the fiduciary responsibility to probably lock in some of your gains for the people who invested into you. So for here, I think it's CNBC, of course, like with the political world we're currently in, if they have the opportunity to take a jab at Trump, they're going to take a jab at Trump. Neither of them came out and said, we sold because this is a Trump thing. They just said that they sold. But that's mainstream media. Sometimes you just have to wade through all of that's going on. But kind of indicative of some of the red that we saw, but that's also being mirrored by the overall market. A little bit on crypto that I want to discuss. Here we go. A little bit right here. Walmart has quietly begun hosting Bitcoin ATMs. Like, now this isn't the craziest thing. This isn't going to be the thing that sends Bitcoin to six figures. But I do think it's interesting in more of a general sense that another very large company, well-respected company, has been in one form or another accepting what's going on with crypto and the social cultural move into crypto. So right here, Walmart, like obviously they see that there's some sort of a demand for BTC-based ATMs. And right here, the retail giant is offering Bitcoin through 200 of its Coinstar kiosks and a tie-up with crypto ATM firm CoinMe. That's pretty cool. I mean, I know these are way more popular out west in the Western US, but it's kind of cool just in general. The world of crypto, in my mind, it's a bunch of baby steps, and it's just taking little steps time and time again to absolute mass adoption. So just a little bit of a thing there. Probably more important related to crypto. So remember earlier this week, on Tuesday of this week, ProShares had their Bitcoin Futures ETF go live. It's currently trending under BITO. We knew that there was another one coming out this week. And it did come out this morning. Unfortunately, the timing of it wasn't the best. I mean, we had this push from BTC all the way up to 67K, currently trading at 60K. A lot of crypto taking a breather off of like the first week run, the first half of a week run. And right here, Valkyrie came out with theirs. That was highly expected. We knew it was ProShares. We knew it was Valkyrie. They are trading under BTF is the ticker, but same basic thing. It's a Bitcoin futures ETF. If you don't know what a Bitcoin futures ETF is and like why I'm not just saying a Bitcoin ETF, well, it's because they are technically two independent things. You have, it's the difference between direct ownership and indirect ownership, being physically settled and cash settled. So the difference really here is that when you're buying an ETF, if it were a spot ETF, like $50 into the ETF gives you $50 into the asset that you're tracking. And in this one, it's not $50 into Bitcoin when we're talking about the Valkyrie one or the ProShares one. It's technically tracking Bitcoin futures, which is, they're going to be highly correlated, but the money into it, it's not necessarily a money inflow into Bitcoin itself because it's not tracking that. It's tracking Bitcoin futures. So that is going to be more of your indirect ownership type of a thing, but that's still good. It still means that crypto is more accessible to so many different people. It gives an opening for IRAs to get involved into it. And it's just from a regulatory standpoint, it gives it a bit more confidence that, okay, like the SEC allowed this. And once again, it's similar to Walmart. And I would argue that this is a bigger baby step, but still a step nonetheless in the right direction of getting those spot ETFs where people don't have to directly buy Bitcoin, but they can get it through an ETF such as Grayscale. And Grayscale has recently come out with commentary. Basically, as soon as the SEC allows them to, they will be moving forward with turning GBTC into a spot ETF, like a direct ownership one for Bitcoin. They're hoping that it happens by the end of this year. So we have two Bitcoin futures already rocking, ProShares Valkyrie. We're looking for a different type of an ETF that I would actually say is even a bigger step in the right direction with the spot ETF, hopefully by the end of this year. And just so you know, there are various other ones who have applied to get those other crypto-based ETFs really running. So that's a bit of your crypto update. Let me just make sure there's nothing else major there. From a technical perspective, we're just seeing that dip. We're seeing the dip after the crazy push. A good lesson, as always, maybe shy a little bit away of just like that FOMO buying. Obviously, that's like sometimes you chase and you end up becoming a bag holder. Now, with that being said, if you bought above 63K somewhere in here in Bitcoin, no need to panic. I strongly believe, and remember, I'm not a financial advisor. These are just all my own opinions. I think if you wait on Bitcoin, Bitcoin's a long-term play. And I think if you wait, you don't have to worry about like going in the money and being where like you're in profit. Like I'm just so confident in the future of crypto, so absurdly confident that any of the missteps and the hiccups and some of the red bars we see now, the way I view crypto is, for me, what the best decision is to, on major dips, I buy, and other than that, I just hold. I'm looking at it as like a literal multi-decade hold. Sometimes we push and I'm up a nice percentage, and it's fun to look at, it's fun to see, but I'm never going to do anything with that, because why would I get out of GameStop, or excuse me, why would I get out of, I want to talk about GameStop, that's why I'm already thinking about it, but why would I get out of Bitcoin at 60, 75, 100,000 when there's that potential of it going to, given enough time? I'm not saying this has to happen next year, but like, let's talk about like 1, 2, 3 decades down the road, that potential of it going to 1 million. Ethereum, like, I think it wouldn't be that crazy in the medium term to be 10K, no less, maybe in the future, like way down the road, 100K, something like that. I'm not going to get out now. It just doesn't make sense to me. My crypto methodology is buy the dips and just sit. It's so much easier. The emotions involved in it, if that's my trading plan and I don't have to like be glued to the screen about like what is or isn't going on, so much easier. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm just prepared to hold this for quite a while. Makes it way, way easier. All right, so that's a little bit about what's going on, and obviously we checked on crypto. Let me give you the breakdown of AMC and Gme today. AMC currently trading at 36.16. Remember, 36 is a key level of support that I hope a lot of bulls and apes show up at that level. I would very much like the bounce off of that level. It's a key, like if you look at the daily chart on AMC, right here, you can see this trend line, you see the previous support, very much hoping that this like demand is found here and we start to retrace back upwards. In the scenario that it happens, and I do think that the odds are in that favor just because we've been selling off ever since October 19th, I think there is an argument for reversion play. But in terms of the technicals of what to watch, I am watching, now we have this gap. Before we talked about this gap up to 44.20, which was filled on October 19th, and I am looking at this low from 38.80. This low from October 21st, we now have that gap. That's an obvious gap. Once again, the way I was calling out 44.20 on AMC to get filled in the short term, I'm calling out for this gap of 38.80 to get filled in the short term. Over the past 3 days, when we saw this breakdown of these lows here from October 18th, 19th, that means that this bottom line, it was in play, and I called that out, and I asked everyone, be like, I said this as recently as the past 2 trading days of don't freak out, be mentally prepared for 36, because that was like the technicals. That was the technical setup that 36 in the very short term was more likely than really anything else. And right now, the play that I hope, fingers crossed, I'm looking for the MACD to not cross over. I want it to stay green. I want to see the bounce here. I want demand to be found. First, I want this gap to be filled. Then we're watching back to 44.20 and then hopefully an overall trend line breakout. But many, many people, not myself, not just myself, many other people who have been doing the technicals, posting videos, Reddit, Twitter, all that stuff, have been trying to point out, like, no, 36 is a very realistic price level that we could see in the short term. It just so happens that we're seeing it right now. I'm there with you. It's a bummer. You don't want to see it. Of course, I wish it was green over green over green. You just don't get that, though. That's not a natural way for the stocks to move. There is that cadence of that ebb and flow of you go up, you come down, you go up, you come down. You have periods of expansion, consolidation, volume explodes, volume consolidates. That is a natural cycle of the overall market. And then when you compare some of what we were seeing there with some of the technicals, that 36 call on AMC was not some impressive big brain call. I mean, over the past 2 trading days, in both of the streams, and all 4 of those streams, I try to get people to prepared of 36. It's a reality, and it just so happens that that reality kind of hit us in the face today. But once again, we're looking for that base to hold. and we're looking for the spin off of that base. And my first short-term target is that gap fill to the north side. Let me reload this just so I know we have up-to-date numbers. So they borrowed 883,000 shares against AMC today for a net return of 1.93 million shares. Short interest currently estimated to be 16.4%. I'm sure a lot of people here are thinking, well, hang on. How is there a net return of shares, but the stock's red? Well, remember, to return shares, if they were short, they didn't have to be short. Sometimes they go out on loan. People don't want a short and they just return it. But for the ones that were a legitimate short position, they were most likely returned 2 days prior. And then you have to wait for the settlement to end. And then you could actually return it to the original owner. The borrow change, when you see a net return shares, don't think, oh, those are the shorts that covered today if it's 2 days ago because of the settlement cycle. That's the only one on here that I would argue is like the best probably to think of it as a 2-day delay. But even that's why it doesn't say shorts covered. It says return shares because those are kind of a distinct thing. And when it comes to the world of the stock market, it is sometimes worthwhile to dive into like what is technically correct. If it said shorts covered, well, that'd be a bit of a misnomer, but the shares were actually returned today because they were potentially shares that were short 2 days ago, just to get some of those questions out there. All right, now let's talk about GME. GME unfortunately had that breakdown of 175 earlier this morning. That was key support. And then that means the fact that we've been trading under it, the next support is at 165 right here. You could see this. This was the low from September 30th and October 6th. And it was also a little bit of resistance up top here in August. So this is the key level I'm watching right now. I obviously wanted to stay above it, and I'd prefer we just don't even hit it and we just pull a U-turn. And even GameStop now has a bit of its own gap to fill up to 180.60. So similar to AMC, I'm looking for the MACD to stay green, and in the short term, I'm looking for the gap fill on GME the same way I am on AMC. And obviously, I would love the continuation, the breakthrough at 190. Ever since October 11th all the way up until October 21st yesterday, GME has really, really struggled at that region of supply between 188 and 190, and so much supply overwhelmed it that we got this hit today. Very, very similar. AMC down 7.5%, GME down 7%. We're seeing that on the day that the SPY is currently red, the Qs are currently red, IWM is currently red. I think it's easy for people within these communities to get caught up that like, oh, it's just like, there's almost a sense that it's like, the market's out against you and it's like specifically your stock that's red. There's a lot of things that are red today. There's actually very few things. Like there are some green things, but like most equities today are red. You're just seeing money leave the system, the Wall Street system, and whether they're going into a couple plays or if they're just going into cash for the weekend, I don't know. We'll have to wait to get some of the numbers after market close just to see where everyone is really settling. But don't think that it's just your stock, your moon stock, you're getting attacked. Lots of red. Obviously, it's not fun. Just when you come to that realization, it doesn't necessarily make you feel any better because like red is red and account is down and I'm right there with you. But we've been here. Like this is no different. Like it's, I feel like sometimes I'm like hand holding to keep people like mentally where they need to be throughout the day. But I mean, we're also now 11 months into it. At a certain point, you got to work on your own coping mechanisms and your own handling your own emotional state. You're going to have very red days. You're going to have very green days. The very red days, remember this feeling and think about it. Okay, on very green days. Very green days, remember that feeling and think about it on red days. With it, you got to get your emotions out of it. This is think like a computer. It's an if-then statement. If your risk is not hit, then you do absolutely nothing, but it's up to you to define where your risk is. I'm not the person to tell you, be like, oh, if you're in AMC, you should risk this dollar value. If you're in GME, you should risk like this particular price point. That's all up to you. We all have different accounts. We all have different goals. We all have different personalities. We all have different financial situations. But if your risk is not hit, however you define that, if it's a time hold, maybe something related to the shorts or just a good old price level, if your risk is not hit, well, then you don't do anything. So because you know you're not going to do anything, at least for me, I think that helps with my mentality of holding it. It's like, okay, I have a trading plan. Neither like my risk wasn't hit, my reward wasn't hit, none of my exit conditions were hit. So then like I don't necessarily need an emotional response to it. Like, and I get it. That's way easier said than done. But I think it's something in terms of trader discipline, something we can all work to. And before I move on from these guys, let me just give you the flow. Okay, so AMC, the flow is bearish, but just barely 51.15%. And in terms of GME, the flow is more bearish. That is 58% betting against GME in the options market, just so you know there. All right, I just want to see if there's any big political updates, anything like that. It feels like more so of a non-story driven type of a day. From a stock market perspective, things got really hot, we're taking a breather, but this is not driven by some overall commentary. Early this morning, we had the Fed talking about, I guess they're tapering, but like I never really, it doesn't make sense to me that people have such reactions to that, because they've been very honest about what they are or aren't doing. We kind of know, like the Fed's like, hey, that thing that we were talking about, the tapering in November, yeah, we're still moving forward with that. But it's like the thing we've all known about forever. So I'm always surprised. And talk about like freaking market shenanigans. If you look at this, it's that same V-shaped crap. We always see sell off, bounce, sell off, bounce, sell off, bounce, sell off, bounce. Like it's always that. And they're reacting to the Fed's comments, which are in no way special comments. It's that type of, and maybe I'm a little bit mad about that because I got burned on the Russell 2000 this morning. So I'm like particularly frustrated. But I saw it and I was like, why? Like it doesn't make sense. I don't know why people are still reactive to the news that it's not new news. All right. So DWAC right now not moving much. Crazy amount of halts today. With it, this is not a fundamental play. Like if I don't know anyone I don't think anyone is campaigning for that, but DWAC, they don't, the True Social, they have no revenue. They have no users. The beta rolls out in November. They're looking to get nationwide rolled out in Q1 of 2022. DWAC, the insanity behind this, it's all the insanity of an idea. There are many people who started buying it because like they like this concept of anti-big tech, or maybe they're supportive of the former President Trump. But whatever it is, it started moving and then it became a self-fulfilling prophecy. So many people got excited that they bought it and it kept going. But so DWAC, I just like that. It's not like it's a company, but it's not like a well-established company, the TMTG thing. We're still waiting on that, but fundamentals are not. And I hope you've learned this from AMC or Gme, or just the insanity that DWAC is up 1,000% in 2 days, that some fundamentals clearly sometimes do not matter and value is found elsewhere. And in DWAC, I mean, I'm just kind of throwing out as I've been like pondering upon this, I think it's just enthusiasm. I think there are certain people with like how DWAC is perceived from the outside, that pitch of it, I can see why people get enthusiastic about it. It makes sense. And then the market and the excitement took it away from there. I cannot imagine where DWAC would be at if it had a built out options market. If people could have bought calls and they loaded into out of the money calls and we got a gamma squeeze, DWAC, it can be shorted. And I believe it's up on Ortex. Shout out to Dave in the Discord there reminding me of this. Let me give you the Ortex numbers on DWAC. DWAC. This is incredible. Here, I'll just show it to you. This is funny. Why is it not? There we go. So obviously it just started getting all the reports for it. Very, very new. Utilization, 99.97% as of this morning. Days to cover, doesn't really matter. It doesn't have the short interest yet because we're still kind of waiting to see like what the float actually is. I'm seeing numbers in between 20 and 30 million. But anyway, the cost to borrow, sky high. So for the people who are attempting to bet against it, and people are betting against it, but I wouldn't call this like a full-on short squeeze or anything like that. We don't even know how many shorts there really are. Just because you have a high utilization, that doesn't mean you have a high short interest. But anyway, for the people who are attempting to rent these shares to bet against DWAC, this cost to borrow is 287.5%. That is incredibly high. that is ridiculously high. So that's kind of interesting. But once again, we don't really know the short interest. We're going to have to wait for some of the quality data to at least our degree kind of like get to us. That's one of the biggest issues of being a retail trader is like we have a lack of high quality data, a very severe lack of high quality data. But anyway, DWAC, I don't know. I think it's fun. To me, it's more of like when we're joking around and we're saying, all right, the casino's getting going. For me, I bought a really small position relative to my portfolio size. I just took a bet that I like was willing to handle if I'm wrong. I bought 20 shares. Relative to my overall portfolio, even relative to my AMC and GME independent positions, that's a small bet for me. And it's fun. I don't know. I look at it more of just like to be in on like whatever the insanity is, to be involved in the chaos. But I didn't feel myself that comfortable with taking a large bet. But if you did, especially if you took a large bet yesterday, congratulations. I know there's going to be some ding dongs in that they say they're so-called apes who are going to get mad at you because you're making money in a place that they're not making money. Just so you know, I don't agree with them, and I would actually take it another step farther and call them not apes. I would actually vehemently argue that if there's someone, especially some like pissy little keyboard warrior who's like mad that you made money somewhere else that's not in whatever stock they believe to be the best stock, I would vehemently defend you that person's wrong. I would take it the next step, say that they're not an ape, because apes don't tell other apes what to do with their money. A big part of this is the anti-movement against Wall Street, thinking they're so elite and privileged and they know what to do with their money and they're smarter than us. So to me, they're kind of acting in a certain way. They have that same like trait as Wall Street of, oh, apparently they're so good and so smart and they know what's going on. So anyone who's like talking about a distraction and they're just jealous. They're jealous. You know it. Don't pay them any attention. And then I would just like to congratulate you, no matter what you're in. I have no PHUN position, but if you made a killing on that, congratulations there. If you made money trading some weird NFT today, congratulations. I think it's cool when any ape gets money, because the odds of that money flowing back into a play that I'm currently invested in is very, very high. So your success in an indirect way ends up becoming my success. So in a selfish reason, I applaud all of you, but then also just from a moral reason, like I'm happy when retail ever makes money because this is a hard game. You took a risk, it paid off. So this concept, it drives me nuts. And actually, I don't know, whenever I just see these people, look, it's a distraction, instantaneous ban. Look at my tweet. Even for this live stream, I put this out there and I tagged PHUN and DWAC. Folks, this is social media. Yeah, you kind of got to talk about the things that people are asking you about. Look at the comments to it. Like I've already had to ban like half the comments because they're like, how could you possibly talk about another stock? I'll let you in on a little bit of a secret. This is not an AMC channel. This is not a GME channel. It's never been an AMC channel. It's never been a GME channel. I had this channel way before AMC, way before GME. And I've always done this thing where whatever's going on in finance, I talk about the hot topic things because that's where the biggest opportunities for not only entertainment, but specifically education really lie. Like, of course, you explain all the same concepts. Like today I talked about SPACs and warrants. Those are important to know, but you explain it through the concept of the thing that many people are paying attention to, i.e. DWAC. And then from there, there's many other takeaways. You can always learn about risk reward. You can always learn about things going absolutely parabolic because of FOMO buying. There's so many lessons in things that are moving. That's a key thing. And I guess you could take some lessons away from things that are consolidating and explain consolidation. But people want to know about what's moving, why it's moving, and like what can be taken away from that. There's always so many learning lessons. And then you see all these just negative Nancys, these straight up Gregs who like, for some reason, they act as if our community, like it's against the community's rules to like even murmur like the ticker symbol of another stock. Folks, I'm invested in many stocks. I actively trade many cryptos, and I'm invested in many things. Like, why would I not be? I've been involved in the market for a decade, and you're going to learn the critical importance of diversity. And to like, when people are some in weird way like showing that they're against like having a diverse understanding and a diverse investment portfolio, that tells me how green they are to the market and they just don't know what they're talking about. So why would I ever like listen to their opinion when they're so new? They just don't even know what they're saying. Wait for the liquidity that pours into AMC, and in my opinion, specifically Prague, the rocket is now fueled. Retail has made so much money today, second most historic retail day. The amount of money that DWAC and PHUN has given retail, it's absurd. It is clearly absurd, and I think that should be celebrated. Pull 3-year and PH 400 when Trump mentioned them in a tweet. At 400 PHUN, that might have been like a reverse split though, FUD swatter. So you might want to just check into if there was any reverse splits. Matt, you sold out. Go Trump. Really? Go Capitol riots and racism and all that. Like, when did I ever say go Trump? Like, I'm covering news. Dead syrup. I think you just won the award of like the dumbest comment of the day. You sold out. Go Trump. Really? Go Capitol riots and racism and all that. What? Dead syrup. I have a very earnest question. Like, and you're probably gonna take this like personally and offensively, and maybe you should, but three words for you. Are you stupid? And feel free to respond with that. I don't mean it rhetorically, but like maybe you're just like, oh yeah, no, like I'm a dumb person. Like, and that's fine. Like then you get a pass. But like if you're not stupid, like what's your point here? When did I do like dead syrup? Like seriously, just like, are you a dumb person? Like, and it's all right. There's dumb people out there. Like you can admit it. There's nothing wrong with being a dumb person. Like sometimes people are just born like that. And you might be one of those unfortunate people who is just born dumb. And like, hey, we're here to help you. That's why I like to answer the same questions 10 times throughout the day, because I know I want to bring everyone up to our level. But I'm just, maybe you're a person that, like you might just be dumb. How, like, what? Are you the Simone Biles of mental gymnastics? Seriously. I feel like now in a stream of 5,000 people, I'm almost talking with one person, but you are a gold medal winner. Matt Kohrs talks about a stock that's up 1,000% in 2 days. He has a stock channel, so that doesn't make sense. Why would he talk about it? Thus, he is a racist. Like, do you not see how you're part of the problem? I can already tell that you're just going to be one of those people who's like loves virtue signaling and you act like you're always right. And like, I bet you have a really, really thought out opinion for every crazy social issue and political issue facing this world right now. And let me let you in on a little secret. People don't like people like you. You sound like a virtue signaling asshole. You just made the connection that I'm talking about a stock that I'm a racist. Do you not see how most likely the thing you're fighting against, you're probably the one really pushing that issue farther into the negative red territory? So this still always comes back to my original question for you. Are you stupid? Because I think it's a resounding yes. Sometimes your age shows, my boy. I'm not sure why you trust crypto so much. For one, how do you even trust these Coinbases and Voyagers so much? I mean, a lot of them are insured by banks and the government. Like you can get FDIC approved. Why do I trust it? It's not necessarily trust in crypto. It's a distrust in our government. Like the USD is run by the government. So it's not, I'm not here to campaign for how much I trust crypto. I'm here to campaign how much I don't believe in our government or specifically the Federal Reserve doing what they need to with the USD. Partition go ban payment for order flow. Yes, that is out there. The only thing I saw though with that one is they tried to do payment for order flow and they tied it with dark pools. I don't necessarily agree with I think they need to be two independent petitions. Man, I took a big gamble that I normally wouldn't. FOMC DWAC at 40. Now I made enough money to buy 200 more AMC. Shout out Paul. Matt rant ramp incoming. I'm here for the FUD and the mag mob shirts. It's not an AMC channel, it's a rant channel. You apes really come here for the rants. Meme maker OG, shout out Randall. Dude, I always thought people were full of it when they said buying more AMC with profits, but here I am buying AMC with some of my Prague profits. Congratulations, Prague is looking very good. Matt, why are far out of the money calls on AMC next week rising when the price is dropping? Well, I don't know what time frame you're specifically looking at, but just in more of a general sense, when it comes to options, there's three major things you need to consider: the price of the stock, the current price of the equity or ETF, the time until expiration, and also the volatility. So sometimes, I don't know when you looked at it, like the discrepancy that you're looking at, but sometimes when it drops off, sometimes that volatility increase could actually overwhelm it. And it gets weird because sometimes options gain extra premium even when the equity moves against you. It's not the most common thing. It's more of a rare circumstance. It can happen. But just remember, options costs, like the cost of them, the premium, like what you pay for, what it's currently valued at, it's the very fancy mathematical model that goes into it is much more than just the current price. Time till expiration and volatility are huge factors. Could PHUN run after hours? Like theoretically, yeah, there's nothing stopping it from that. Anything could run in after hours. You're right. I love how you can put a roach in their place. Thanks for all you do. Shout out, Corey. Retail Joe becoming an astronaut. What else do we have? All right. So Matt, a racist. He doesn't even jog. That one's really funny. That one was funny. Shout out to Kirby Tinker. That was actually hilarious. He doesn't even jog. Oh, man. OTC can't run after hours. Gotcha, boy. Wait. Is PHON? I don't think that's an OTC stock, is it? Or are you just saying in general, like anything could run after? I thought PHUN, it trades on the NASDAQ. That's not an OTC stock. So technically that could trade, unless you were just saying it in more of a general sense that like some things can't run after hours if they're OTC or on the pink sheets. Happy Friday, Matt. I don't always agree with left versus right politics, but I like the idea of other platforms with respect to big tech bullying anyone that doesn't agree with their dogma. Go Matt Rants. Shout out Darkened Flame. Better be careful or you'll have ding-dongs calling you joggers or something. Thoughts on staying in DWAC during the weekend? But that's just because I have such a small position. Like I'm in DWAC for the lulz. Like, I don't know. Like it seems it's basking in the chaos of the situation. So I'm going to swing it. But that doesn't mean other people. I view DWAC as a high risk, high reward swing trade. Because it's high risk, I took a very, very small bet because it's a high risk. I am going to swing it over the weekend. But I just wanted to have a little skin in the game because of I don't know, being funny and whatever. I don't know. It just seemed fun. It seemed like something funny to pay attention to. That's why I have 20 shares. I have 20 shares. It's a small position for my portfolio. I'm not going to increase it. It's just, I'm literally in it because I was like, oh, this could be fun. I saw potential in it, but like I said, I can't overstate the fact that it is clearly high risk to high reward. I think a lot of people, they hear the high reward and the brain cancels out the fact that I say high risk. So let me iterate that one more time. It is a high risk, high reward swing trade. The price will not settle here. Not whatsoever. This will end up coming back down. We know there's a gap fill play all the way down to 52, but that doesn't mean it can't go higher in the short term. So with it, the fact that I think it has potential to go higher, but please understand, it's not like the stock's going to come up and just settle here. You have to be much more agile with this play, given enough time. And unfortunately, I don't know what that time frame is. DWAC will, I don't know. I'm afraid to throw out a price level, but it will have a significant drop at some point in the future. And then it'll probably start trading more closely related to this success of it being a social media platform. Right now, this is pure just like unbridled energy and enthusiasm of what's going on in this situation, and people get excited about a running stock. But please don't think of this as some diamond-handed play. Please, 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 please. I just don't think the odds of that are high at all. It's like a 0.001% chance that this thing will just settle at some crazy high number and just start trading there. Is it possible? Yes. But this is kind of like the Dumb and Dumber thing when he's like, oh, so you're saying I have a chance? Yeah, but like it's 1 in a freaking million. DWAC, it could keep going higher and eventually it'll keep coming down. And I don't think there's any issue with making money on both ways. Maybe you've already made a lot of money on one way and you're just waiting for weakness to play it the other way. That's fine. I don't see any issue with that whatsoever. What's going on, James? I love your bees, but if you don't buy and hold AMC, you're being a little bitch. Shout out to Charles Payne. Never made 730% on a trade in my life. Locked in this morning. Thank you for drilling into my head to not be greedy. Let's go bandwagon. What's going on, Andrew? Congratulations on your 730% gain. Wait, I thought this was a Wendy's. You said anything could happen. Was joking. Stop being racist. Oh man, that was a good joke. He doesn't even jog. Man, oh man. All right, so Prague looking very good into close. AMC bouncing off of 36. I've been calling out 36. If you want to get really technical, I was wrong. It bounced off of 35.96, so I was off by 4 cents. I'm sorry. I was supposed to have more potential. I'll do better next week. Probably not, though. That was pretty damn good. We're getting that bounce. GME's bouncing off of 167.76. I called out 165, so that was even more egregious of me. I was off by $2, but we're looking for that bounce to continue. We want both of these to bounce like now. Let's take a quick peek. How's the overall market doing right now? That V-shaped BS that they pulled on us once again. Same thing in the two other major indices. I was up 70K on BENE warrants, held all the way back to even. Hashtag dumbass was taking the big swing for the big moon colored fence. Shout out Trey's Subway Cup. Hey, can you talk about NAKD stock? Yeah, so NAKD stock, I feel like the only reason it's actually discussed is because it was a part of the sympathy play group back to GameStop in January. People just realized that it was highly shorted. And in late January, people were just buying every stock that was highly shorted. To my understanding, NAKD is in a very bad, fundamental financial situation. I am not a fan of NAKD. The reason it was highly shorted is because all the numbers, especially at the start of the year, were suggesting that it was a failing business. So right now, I think it's still on some people's radars because they know it made a crazy move. But it's probably one of my least favorite plays in the world that comes out of the Noakes, the BB, the AXPR, NAKD. I would say even check it out on Seeking Alpha. Look at their lack of growth, their debt. They had to shut down all of their brick and mortar stores. It's not a thriving business unfortunately, even with the world going back to normal, it's still not trending in the best direction. So I don't know. I think if you're in it, I do wish you luck, but I am personally staying away from it. I am definitely personally staying away from it. Did you make money on your DWAZ position today? No, I'm technically down by $500 or something, but whatever. So you're saying DWAC has potential? It definitely has potential, but not so much potential that I'm oh man, I wish I could throw a lot of money at it. I mean, it could do something like that, but so many people, they just get starry-eyed with the reward, and you really need to first consider risk. It is a big risk play, so that means you either don't play it or you play it small, in my estimation. At least that's how I would do it in my own mindset. PHUN not really moving right now. I see a lot of people saying PHUN, but it's PHUN is just flat at 9. I think DWAC is a better play than PHUN, just because DWAC, we have the definitive merger agreement between the SPAC and TMTG, the Trump Media Technology Group. PHUN is up on the rumor that they will be doing the tech build out for TMTG, which is right now DWAC. So that's an unconfirmed rumor, and you don't want them maybe over the weekend be like, no, we're not doing that, and then the stock plummets. There's some risk built in there because it's purely a rumor play. I hope everyone has an awesome weekend. Don't be like a Subway Cup. Take some profits and buy more GME, AMC, and MMAT. Also, don't be a big... What's going on, Trey Subway Cup? I'm sure a lot of those words will end up getting me in trouble with YouTube. Can you look at GREE on Ortex? Thanks. Yeah, GREE, that's a bad company. That's like what their management team did with the switch from SPRT into GREE was super, super messed up. It's shorted, but most likely for good reason. And honestly, it's not even that highly shorted. It's at 12%. When you're at 12%, and not a lot of people are talking about you, like I rarely see people bring up GREE like whatsoever. That, I don't know. I'm not a fan of it. My play on GREE is to completely avoid it. I just don't trust their management team at all.
Whoa, brother. Big super.
Don't let randoms ever accuse you of being racist. I'm biracial and jumped into DWAC and put money to AMC. I'm not racist against myself. Race on factor. Yeah, that's just one of those people. Like we've all met people like that. They just think they're better. They think they're like they're just so goddamn smart that they're like their opinions on society and politics are like, oh, I'm just so smart. They're like, it's like, all right, buddy, don't break your arm patting yourself on the back. Like it's probably some like what 20-year-old in college who just had their first like sociology class or economics class or some weird studies class. They're like, yeah, no, I know everything now. I'm 20. And even though I've eaten like ramen out of my microwave with my roommate for the past like 4 months, like, trust me, I am more than prepared to discuss like various pressures facing the overall world, both societally and culturally. Like that's who I'm probably in a debate with. Hello, aren't you 20 years old too? Yeah, but I'm in my upper 20s, which means my brain has developed to the point that I'm starting to realize how much I actually don't know. So I can fully call out people on maybe you shouldn't talk about that. Probably you don't know about it. That's like where my brain development's at. There's some point in your 20s that you're like, oh wow, I actually don't know shit. And that's where I'm at. Captain Mexico, you don't have to attack me like that, man. Oh man. Thoughts on Prog for a viable short squeeze play? Now I have no Prog, but I would argue it is a viable FTD short squeeze play. Not necessarily like a diamond-handed thing, but Prog, a lot of people are pointing out that even like don't even consider the short squeeze part. A lot of people are starting to argue that Prog is just legitimately undervalued, like from a fundamental perspective. People are arguing, wait, no, this is a good fundamental play, and like to boot, you have the chance that maybe it also has some sort of like squeezing potential. So Prog is one I find interesting. I just want to learn a bit more. I know a lot of people in the Discord have been discussing it, and I know a lot of people have been discussing it on Twitter. So maybe that's a good place to start your DD right there on Twitter to see what's going on. But the argument in support of it is definitely an interesting one. Would you invest in DWAC or DWACW? It depends on DWACW, the warrant, is just a higher risk to reward play. So DWAC is already high risk to high reward. And if you're just like, screw it, I'm feeling lucky, like things are going to rip, you could then go with the warrant one. So it's going to be correlated to the success and or failure of DWAC, but understand it, it's even higher risk and it's higher reward. Like that's what you get in return. And he only eats high class ramen. Matt, your story has inspired me to follow my dreams. I'm a professional beekeeper. I want to start my own YouTube channel on beekeeping. Can you share the best piece of advice on following this dream? Yes. For any of those out there who want to do social media, specifically things related to videos, whether you want to live stream or just do like video uploads. And honestly, you could probably take this to any form of social media. If you want to talk about TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, the success to social media, like many things in life, consistency is the number one thing. If you could only hear one thing right now and all of a sudden you're going to tune me out against everything else, consistency. I did this for like 10 months, 11 months, and I got nowhere with it, and I just kept doing it. I tried weekly content, daily content, more or less, longer, shorter. And of course, that's like your trial and error process, but you just got to put it out there. You can't just do it a little bit and be like, it didn't work, and like just quit on it. Consistency. And you could actually apply that to most likely like I don't know. Are you trying to get ripped at the gym? Are you trying to do better at work? It's just, if you show up and do the work, that's most of the battle. You just got to do it day in and day out. Now, if you want to get a little bit more granular with social media, you have to do something that other people are not doing. When I started social media, specifically this YouTube channel, I was like, I want to make finance channels or videos on a finance channel. So I was like, I'll just make a good video explaining something. But then all of a sudden at that point, I have less than 1,000 subs. My speaking ability is worse. My editing ability is worse. And I'm competing with people who are larger than me. If you're not 10 times bigger than the person who's already bigger than you, you are not going to beat them. There's a lot of social credibility, and a lot of people end up just getting attracted to who already has the big numbers. So for you to get bigger than them, you can't be the same level, and obviously you can't be worse. You have to be notably better to pass someone when you're doing the same style of content. So unless you are very good at whatever it is you're trying to do, and very good as in notably better than the people who are bigger than you already doing it, which is probably not likely because they've already been doing it, you have to find a new domain. The domain I found myself in was live streaming stock markets. That was not really a thing that was being done before. And when it was being done before, there were some people, it was a little bit it wasn't chaotic enough. People did not get the same reflection of how they felt and what was going on in the markets to the person they saw on the stream. Were there people live streaming the stock market when I first started streaming the stock market? Yeah, but they were almost too professional. They used terminology that people didn't understand. They had the button down chart, and then me, I just show up, and at that point I was like switched around. I barely knew how to live stream. There was the white wall behind me with which was weird contrast to me, who's like as white and pasty as mayonnaise. And then I had like on a vibrant blue duck shirt, and it was just chaotic. And in a certain sense, that was very symbolic to the current situation. It had more traction than people who were already put together. And then they had the learning curve of the terms that people didn't know. I guess that's just being more genuine. Everything about it was that was going on with me emotionally in my finances. It was so represented by how messed up the stream was. My emotions were out there because I saw my account going up, going down. It was just genuine with how many other people were feeling the exact same thing at that time. So that was my, I guess, little foray into how I basically fell ass backwards into doing something that other people weren't doing at that moment in time. So for anyone trying to start whatever they're doing, especially if it relates to social media, if you see someone else doing it, that means you shouldn't be doing it. Be creative, be original, come up with something new. Chip and Putt becoming an astronaut. Shout out Chip and Putt. I appreciate that. Someone said, help, I'm having a fart attack. Interesting. Nice, beautiful bounce off of 36. We're up to 36.77. So $0.75. Hey, I'll take that. DWAC seems like it's going quiet into close. Not much of a movement there. GME. So AMC and GME kind of moving. DWAC, it looks like it's going to be flat at 90 into close. What else do we have going on? Matt, short-term Cardano prediction. Cardano's been kind of flat, not doing anything. So my short-term prediction is not much of a DV. Yeah, it's been range-bound ever since, like, for almost all of October. Cardano not moving. So my short-term prediction is probably not much of a change from that. I'm changing my name to Matt Kohrs and getting verified on Twitter. Hey, good luck with that. I mean, I hope at least one Matt Kohrs can figure out how to get verified. They keep telling me I'm not notable. They're like, yeah, sorry, kid. Gotta get out of your mom's basement. It's a clear message. And have a great weekend, Gerald DuPont. What's going on, man? Trace Subway Cup. My dog is racist against himself when he chases his tail in circles. Cat block makes me sound like I'm serious and angry. Matt has never taken a political stance since I've been watching. We are all trying to make some tendies. Thank you, Matt, for being on this platform. I mean, I think I've taken some political stances, namely being I don't like politicians, and I know some of you are hearing that of Matt just said he doesn't like Democrats. Matt just said he doesn't like Republicans. I just don't like them. The thing, I think maybe if I were to like a politician, it would have to be a newer politician, because who in their right mind would want to be a career politician? Do you know how much, like, you just have to be a narcissistic egomaniac to have 3+ decades in politics? Like, what's going on in that person's brain that they think that's a good decision? And no. This argument of making the world better, that had to get beat out of them within like the first 5 years. So maybe I shouldn't say I don't like all politicians. I don't like all career politicians, because that is a person that I just don't trust. As soon as I hear career politician, nope, out the window, cannot trust them. Cannot trust them at all. I'm between discriminating against independent people who can check or text for me on symbols, ears, and thoughts on a closing gap up to 22. All right, let's check out ears. Ears is not coming up on, what does ears trade under? Hello? Trace Subway Cup, why? And thoughts on the cap close. Is it ear, maybe? Ear? Ear. Why does ears not come up? Trace Subway Cup, is that the right ticker? Or is it just ear? Ergo. Oh, this gap fill. Yeah, this must be the one that you're talking about. That the gap fill could happen, but this is very dramatic to go from 21 to 9. Something bad had to happen at the end of September. Some sort of big announcement, something along those lines. 22nd to the 23rd. You have to start with what's going on there. Like, of why. Like, yes, from a technical perspective, it does interest me to see if we could get this gap fill, but try to see if this was an overreaction or if something very bad happened to the company. At Uberfax. What is this one? Elon Musk is predicted to become the world's first trillionaire thanks to SpaceX in Dogecoin. Did that pump Doge? It probably had to, right? A little bit. He got it going. He woke it up. I love how Elon has such a dramatic impact on Doge. It's so funny. It's so incredibly funny. All right, let me check out the number on Ortex. EAR. Ergo. Short interest of estimated to be at 10.3%, utilization 18.5%, shares on loan 2.37 million. So very low utilization and relatively low short interest for like a squeeze play, especially one that not many people are asking me about. Like I just don't know where the community is for it. Hey, H&D just hodling 34 shares of AMC since June 4th. Bit have extended to buying Lucid and ChargePoint. Are they being shorted? We could check that out. CHPT is ChargePoint. The short interest on CHPT is estimated to be 9.3%. And for LCID, it is estimated to be 8.5%. So, of course, there's some short, but like not insane numbers, not like head-turning numbers. I mean, I like Lucid just because I like Lucid. I think AMC and Gme has gotten people to think that like you can only be in squeeze plays, but I mean, I like Lucid just straight up. Just straight up, homie. Ding, ding, ding. The casino is closed. Well, that's it, folks. That's the show. We did that thing. It's the show is now in the books. The week's in the books. So, hey, I hope you guys, I don't know where you are. I don't know if it's your morning, your afternoon, your evening, your night. I don't know what it is, but it's Friday. Have a good one. Kick it back. Enjoy your time with your friends or your family. Don't like your friends? Don't like your family? Enjoy time by yourself. Watch some Netflix. Play some games. Stare at a paint drying on a wall because it's still better than fighting with other apes. But I hope you have a good one. I don't know if you have anything exciting planned for the weekend, but whatever it is, I hope you have some fun doing it. Overall, thank you for the support. Unfortunately, there was various scheduling conflicts with the interview, so it's not going to be coming out tomorrow. I'll keep you updated on that when I get something, I guess, clarified about when that will come out. But so no interview tomorrow unless something absurd happened, but I don't think there's going to be an interview tomorrow, just so everyone knows. And as soon as it's like filmed, edited and all that, just some scheduling conflicts. But that's what happens when you get to interview all the big wigs. You're going to have some various schedules to juggle. But overall, most importantly, thank you for your support. I'll be posting some sort of content this weekend. Don't know what it's going to be related to, but I'll get something out there. But I want everyone to kick back, have a drink or two, hang out with friends, hang out with family, enjoy the weekend and enjoy your fall weekend. Whatever football team you do or don't support, I hope they do or don't win, whatever way you're going for. I'll be rooting for both. I'll be rooting for Penn State tomorrow. I still don't want to think about that Iowa game. But overall, you guys are the absolute best. Thank you for your support. And as always, from me and Cher, best of luck in the markets. Have a great weekend.